Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be looking back at my top 20 makeup releases of 2020 video and reacting to what I put in that video and my current thoughts on those products one whole year later. I've seen this video done with the yearly favorites, but I was looking at my yearly favorites for last year and I feel like a lot of them are still favorites, so this one just seemed a little bit more interesting. So these were the top 20 products that at the end of the year last year I thought were the best releases, and I wanted to just check back and see which ones are still favorites, which ones I still reach for, which ones stood the test of time, if that makes sense. So if you guys liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so what I have right here is I have that video from last year and I have the list of 20 products that I thought were the best releases of 2020. I have a question because I will be doing a similar video this year. Do you guys want me to do a top 20 releases of 2021 or a top 21 releases of 2021? I don't know if I should stick to 20 or if, because we are now in 2021, I should do 21 favorites. Let me know down in the comment section. That is the question I have for you. And let's get started. The first product I mentioned last year was the Estee Lauder Hydra Rescue Foundation. I actually still have that foundation right here in my drawer. It is this one right here. As you can see, I have used quite a bit of this one now. I feel like this year a lot of like tinted moisturizer, lightweight products launched, and so I'm not reaching for this one quite as much as I did last year. It is an absolutely amazing product, but sometimes new things come out and you kind of start pushing these a little bit to the back. Like right now, if I think tinted moisturizer, I probably reach for Tower 28 or the Ilia serum foundation. However, if I think about it, I do think that I still like this one over those, so this is still a favorite, hence why it's still in my drawer and I intend to fully use it. So it is still a really good product. I highly recommend it. It has this beautiful medium coverage with a very glowy finish. If you have normal to dry skin, you will absolutely love this. The second thing I thought was a top release of 2020 was the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk palette, and I actually just featured that palette in my most used products of 2021 video, so obviously it is still a favorite. It is still a palette that I reach for all the time and I do still highly recommend it. I feel like at this point it's probably not the most exciting palette ever, but it is a good staple, like something reliable that you can go back to and always know that you are going to get a beautiful, girly, soft, glamorous result with, you know? So yes, Pillow Talk palette from Charlotte Tilbury is still amazing. So then products 3 and 4 were both from Mcgrath, and it was the Mcgrath concealer and setting powder. Those launched together at the beginning of 2020, and when I tell you, those are still my favorite, those are still such a hit. I have since restocked on both the concealer and the under eye setting powder from Mcgrath. The under eye setting powder to me is irreplaceable, incomparable. I absolutely love it. I've gone through like 3 of them, so what a great 2020 release for sure. Those products are still in my favorites. I'm looking at this list and 2020 had some staple releases, okay? The Tatcha Liquid Silk Canvas also launched in 2020. I still have the same bottle that I had last year, so that goes to show like how long that's lasted me. I do use like a pump and a half each time I use it, and I think I will have to restock on it soon, but again, that's another product that is a tried and true favorite for me, and as soon as I finish it, I will for sure restock on it because I love it. Okay, so this next one is one that I have since changed my mind about, and that is the Patrick Ta Brow Wax. I named that one as a top release for last year, but in 2021, I believe it was in January, Anastasia launched her Brow Freeze, and this changed the game for me for sure, and I immediately stopped using the Patrick Ta brow wax because I didn't have to like wet it and then wait for it to like dry to the right consistency to then brush up my brows. Plus it leaves a lot less residue on my eyebrows than the Patrick Ta one did. I use a lot less product. Overall, it's just a lot less of a hassle for me, and I do find that this one has a stronger hold than the Patrick Ta brow wax. So even though that was a strong favorite for me in 2020 and one of the best 2020 releases in my opinion back then, it has now been replaced by something that I like much better. At number 7, I put the Fenty Cream Bronzer, and the Fenty Cream Bronzer is nice. I guess it was a good release from last year, but it's not something that I continuously reach for all the time. Whenever I use it, I like it. Don't get me wrong. It is a good product, but it's just not something that I constantly reach for in my makeup collection. If I'm reaching for a cream bronzer, I'm reaching for my NARS Laguna Cream Bronzer, which is so pigmented and so blendable. It's spectacular. My Westman Atelier contour stick is something else that I always reach for, and like the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand. Those are my cream and liquid go-tos at the moment. The Fenty Cream Bronzer is no longer up there for me. Okay, I also put Mothership number 8 as one of the best releases of 2020, and it was an amazing release for last year. It is definitely still one of my top Pat McGrath palettes, definitely in the top 5 or 6, I believe, if I remember correctly. So I do really like Mothership number 8 still, and that was a great release last year, one of the best palettes that released last year for sure. Charlotte Tilbury Bronzer. I had a very strong love connection with my Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, as you can see by the size of the hole in the middle of this one here. Maybe I should have been showing you the products, but I just can't be bothered. Anyways, the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, love it so much. Still my most used product of 2021, but no longer a favorite because this year was the year of bronzer releases, and I have some bronzers that came out this year that I have in the past 3 to 4 months been reaching for over this one. So the throne got taken away from this one. It is still a lovely bronzer. I love how natural it looks, but I no longer reach for it as much. As you can see though, it has been extremely well loved by me. I also put the Natasha Denona Bronze Palette as one of the best releases of 2020, which obviously I agree with. It is an amazing palette. I have reached for it quite a bit this year, and I think one of my favorite Natasha Denona midi palettes ever, and I love the really beautiful glamorous golden looks that you can create with that one. That palette is great. Here's a weird one. I put the Colourpop Foundation as one of the best releases of 2020. It's not that I'm questioning my past self, but I'm questioning my past self. It's an okay foundation is the thought of it I have right now. Not sure how it made it to the top 20 of 2020. I honestly really doubt I've reached for it more than maybe once throughout all of 2021. So like I said, it's not that I'm questioning my decisions, but I am questioning my decisions. I'm not sure how that made it. Next, I have the Pat McGrath Dark Star Mascara as another amazing release of 2020, and when I tell you, it is still my favorite. I actually very recently restocked on this one. I am wearing it underneath my false lashes today, and it is a great mascara. I highly recommend it. If you haven't tried it yet, you are missing out. Then I put on here that another amazing release from 2020 was the Pat McGrath The Vinyl lipsticks. Now this one, it's not that I am questioning myself with it, it's that I only like very specific shades in that one. So I have 3 of the Vinyl lipsticks by Pat McGrath now, and I never like any of the ones that have like color in it. Like I have one that is like a vibrant pink shade, never reach for it. I like the nudie ones, and my favorite, it's still, let me show you this one here. This is the pinky one. Maybe it's just the fact that I just never use that tone of lipstick, but I don't like that at all. However, I am still obsessed with Nude Venus right here. I reach for this one all the time. It's just the perfect nudie, balmy, just hydrating and pretty lipstick. And then this one I actually bought this year. This is a 2021 release, I believe, and it's this darker one right here, the Divine Rose 2, which I don't reach for as much as the Nude Venus one, but I have reached for it a lot more than that pink one. So yes, I agree with my past self that that was an amazing release from last year, but very specific colors. I don't like them all. I do think that at the time I filmed that video, the only one I had ever tried was the Nude Venus specifically though. Then at number 14, I put the Abh Brow Pen. I was obsessed with the Abh Brow Pen, but the throne has been taken away from that one by a drugstore product. I very quickly mentioned it in one of the videos I filmed in the past few days, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because I will put it in my 2021 favorites. But the Pat McGrath Brow Pen is no longer my favorite, even though I do agree that it was a great release from last year. And I was totally obsessed with it back when I filmed this video, I do know that. I put the Rare Beauty Liquid Blush as one of the best releases of 2020 in my video. And man, this blush is pretty great. I don't reach for it as much as I used to last year, but every once in a while I still put it on. I love how long lasting it is. I love the color of this one. And Bliss, I feel like, was a very special color for Rare Beauty because a lot of the other blushes were a lot darker and a lot more intimidating. So I feel like they didn't sell as well as this more nudie pinky blush did. And I did see on Trendwood recently that they've expanded the shades of this blush and they are coming out with more light colored shades like this one. So I'm not sure if it's come out yet or not, but keep an eye out if you love this one and you want to expand your collection because they are coming out with similar lighter tones, not as intimidating as the darker, more vibrant ones that they've had. It is definitely an amazing blush formula and I know that it is a lot of your guys' favorite still, and so yes, it was a great release from last year and I still reach for it every once in a while, but this year my blush collection grew a lot, so just not as much as before. Okay, then I put the Celestial Divinity palette from Pat McGrath as one of the best releases of 2020 in my list right here. And while I do agree that it's a very nice, exciting palette, a colorful palette, I don't think I've reached for it this year at all. Especially because it's a like really nice holiday palette. Like it's colorful, it's like these, you know, dark, smoky, glittery vibes, right? And so the perfect time to reach for that one would be during the holiday season, but then she released Celestial Odyssey this year, so you know, if I'm going to go for one of those, I reach for Celestial Odyssey over Celestial Divinity. So I don't know, it was a great release last year, but it has not stood the test of time for me. Okay, let me not be lazy with this because I have them right here in front of me. This is the palette that I was talking about in last year's video. This is Celestial Divinity right here. A beautiful, beautiful palette. I love the 5 Looks 1 palette I created with this one, but after the holiday season last year, I didn't reach for it a lot or any more that I remember, and then this year she came out with this one and I just like this one better. So if I'm going to reach for these type of like vibes from Pat McGrath, this year I've been reaching for the Celestial Odyssey over the Celestial Divinity. So this one I like more, and this one just hasn't stood the test of time for me. Not that you can get it anyways because it has been discontinued since, but just that's the feedback, you know? Okay, number 17, the Natasha Denona highlighter right here. And this was featured as my most used highlighter of 2021. So I still do really, really love it. Now, my issue I'm having with this one is I feel like when I first bought it, it was a lot creamier than it is. Granted, it is a year old now, but it does say it has an 18-month shelf life. So I feel like it should still be a lot more creamy than it is. The issue I'm having with it is, you know, it gives me pigment, it's nice, it looks really beautiful when I put it on, nice and natural just like it did, but I feel like it was a lot easier to apply before. It feels more of a dry powder now than the creamy powder I remember it felt like. This is still available on the Natasha Denona website, but it's been kind of taken off of the rest of the retailers. It is a beautiful highlighter, and my favorite thing about it is just, I feel like it's the perfect color highlighter for me. Nice and illuminating. It's not too dark, it's not too light, it's not too bright, it's not too glittery. Just perfection, honestly, and I do think that I will definitely continue to reach for it. As my number 18, I put Pat McGrath quads in general, assuming I mean the holiday quads that came out last year from Pat McGrath, and those are still very highly regarded in my Pat McGrath quad collection. Certainly better than the ones that came out for holiday this year, but you know, I reach for them every once in a while. I have to have a very specific look in mind to reach for them. However, I do have a very, very large makeup collection. If I didn't, I would probably be reaching for those a lot more because they are really beautiful, high quality. I love the shimmers that come in those, and I do agree that it was one of the best releases for last year. The Huda Stick Foundation. It is still my favorite stick foundation. I don't reach for stick foundations like all that often, but it is there if I ever need it. I do like that it's natural, it blends easily, it lasts forever on the skin. Nothing to complain about. That definitely was a very, very solid release for last year. And then last but not least, I shared Glamnetic Lashes as one of the best releases of 2020. Glamnetic Lashes and we had a moment. I was definitely very obsessed with them for a lot of last year. Now, this year I went back to regular old glue-on lashes, like Ardell Wispies is what I've been using the most this year just because they're cheap and they look good. They're like what I'm wearing right now. But I do really love Glamnetic Lashes. If you guys are into magnetic eyelashes, I do highly, highly recommend Glamnetics. I was actually going to put a pair of Glamnetic Lashes on today when I filmed this video. Literally nothing to do with this. I didn't even remember that was part of the list. But here's my issue with Glamnetic Lashes. I do not like to use eyeliner, and the whole thing behind magnetic lashes is that you put them on a magnetic eyeliner and that's how they stay. So what I try to do is I use the little greepy thingies that they have that you put underneath your lashes to secure them, and I try to put the lash on without a magnetic liner and just use these to secure them. And let's just say it doesn't always work. Sometimes it's a little bit hard and I get frustrated and I end up gluing lashes on, which is what I did today. In their defense though, when the lash is fresh and new, it's easier to do that. Not that that's what you're supposed to do anyways, but once you've used them a few times, I feel like the magnets don't work as nicely as when they are brand new. Okay. So that was my reaction to my top 20 makeup releases of 2020. I feel like we had very few products that I like questioned myself about, that I changed my mind on. Most of the products that were top releases last year are still true favorites of mine, and I still recommend them all the time. So if you guys liked the video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up before you leave. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please don't leave without subscribing. I love you guys so, so much. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you back in the next video. Bye!